Welcome to another video. In this video, we are going to set up our test environment for the course. We are going to be using VirtualBox, virtual machine emulator, and we are going to be using the original release of Windows 10. Using a current version from about early August of 2018, and some of the vulnerabilities and some of the bugs that I wish to exploit in Windows 10 have been patched, so I don't wish to use those. We will have a better experience if we use an earlier version of Windows 10. Now, it's getting harder with their subscription model and with the DreamSpark download portal. It's getting harder to find older versions of software, but there is this site here called windowsiso.net. Windows 10-ISO or Windows-10-ISO, Microsoft Windows 10 download. You can go ahead, build 10.240 is the original first build of Windows 10. That's the target we wish. So 10.240, you can go ahead and click here. You can slide down to the English version. This is the version we're using, and this build number is very important, 6846432. If you can get that, then that's the file we want, and then we can go ahead, click the download button, and go ahead, and we can see we have the Windows 10 English x64. I'm going to cancel, I've already done this. As you can probably imagine, there is the potential for hackers to be involved in this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to download a hash calculator. My personal favorite is the Slavasoft hash calc. So I'm going to go ahead and download that tool. And then once it's downloaded, double click on setup and install it. The last part of the puzzle, and this was a tricky part, first of all, I can tell you that the CD that I'm using, I've had since Windows 10 came out. It's part of my archive. I downloaded it originally from the DreamSpark portal. So I know that my CD is authentic, and I can verify that it's been under my control since ownership or since download. But there is another page, and it's unfortunately in German for all those who don't speak German, but there is this page. And the poster has the Windows 10 multiple edition 64-bit English, the name of the file, which is that 6846432.iso, and then the SHA-1. And so after the download is done, I opened up my hash calc tool. I dragged my ISO image into this data spot, and then I hit calculate. And then some minutes later, the SHA-1 hash is calculated. And so you can see it here. I'll highlight this. And so we can just kind of do a comparison. 60CCE9E9, 60CCE9E9. So I typically just do the sort of the first half of the hash. And then I look at the back hash. And so it's E2B3A8. E2B3A8. So I'm confident, doubly so, that my file is consistent. It is still the legitimate and authentic version from Microsoft, and I can go ahead and use that without any concerns. So if you're feeling that way, so definitely download hashcalc, and whatever file you download, make sure that it has this SHA-1 hash. If it doesn't have this hash and this hash is exact, then the file that you've downloaded is either corrupt or not the file you think it is, and so I would discard it immediately. All right, so with that first bit of work done, I'm just going to go ahead, well, maybe I won't close them, I'll just minimize them. Oop, I don't know what this is, close that. There's my file, so you can see I've got it on my desktop. For this term, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use VirtualBox. I'm going to ignore that. In the past, we've used a VMware Player, and VMware Player version 12 still works very good. However, Recently, or in the last 6 months, VMware Player version 14 has been released, and it is no longer freely available. There's a monthly, or there's some sort of a license, a cost attached to that. So because they're the same, in my experience, the VMware Player as well as the VirtualBox, I've gone back to, and I'm using VirtualBox simply because it's still freely available, and it works about the same as VMware Player. So I'm going to go ahead and click on New. You can see I've got a couple of tests. So this first test here, the Windows 10 unpatched, that is a working version installed from this CD. Unfortunately, and as I'll describe shortly, the disk was too small. I first chose 20 gigabytes as my disk. It was too small. It got filled up and I couldn't continue to install the tools that I needed. So this image would work, but the disk is too small. This Windows 10 Education Unpatched is an installation plus tools using an early August distribution of Windows 10 Education. Unfortunately, as I said, the vulnerabilities that I wish to explore during this term are no longer vulnerable. They've been patched in this recent version, so I'd like to not use that. So I'm going to go ahead and type Windows 10 unpatched 50 GB disk. That's important. The 50 gigabyte disk, we're going to go and we're going to make sure of that. So we have Windows 10 64-bit. If you have it, please go ahead and do 4096 memory. If you don't have it, then make do with 2048, but your performance is going to change based on that. We're going to go ahead and create a new virtual hard disk. So I'll click create. That's what the file is going to be called. And I'm sticking with 50 as I recently said. 20 was too small. I filled up 20 with the downloads and with the tools that we're using. So 50 works well. It's going to be the VirtualBox disk image, so the generic or the default. And it's going to be dynamically allocated, which means it's going to start small. And if you don't use a portion of that 50 gigabytes, then you're not holding up that space on your hard drive. So it will start small and grow as required. So this is a good compromise. So I'll go ahead and create. Once that's created, I'm going to go to the next one, which is settings. This is still highlighted. Click settings. There's a few things that I want to change. So I'm just going to kind of scroll down. This seems okay. This seems okay. Storage. So we want to attach our new CD ISO image to the disk, to CD disk emulation here. So I'm going to go ahead, go to controller SATA. I'm going to select the CD icon. It says empty. I'm going to go over here to this CD, and then there's the little down arrow. I'm going to choose virtual optical disk file, and then I'm going to just select that. As you can see, this PC desktop, there it is. So click on open. I don't have to select either of those, so we're good to go. Audio, I'm going to go ahead and disable audio. I do not want Cortana to start taking over, so there will be no audio on my machine, which is okay for our test environment. And the last, and this is important, I'm going to go to network. I'm going to set this to be bridged. And for now, I'm going to do cable not connected. Windows 10 right from the get-go, but even more with the latest versions, wishes to patch itself as quickly as possible. And so we do want to have networking, which is why we have this enabled, the network adapter. However, at this time, while we're doing the installation, we do not want any patches to be auto-installed. We want to control that. We want to maintain that environment and have it pristine. So by virtue of having a network adapter in our virtual machine, we will get the networking components we want, but leaving the cable disconnected, virtually speaking, we will be unable to download any patches. And so then we will make our configuration changes next after installation and then reconnect that cable. So we'll leave that there. That's all the changes I wanted to do. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and I'm going to start. These messages that keep popping up are just messages. Read them the first time you see them. After that, they sort of become annoying and you can just X them out. There's no choices here, so click Next. We don't have anything to repair, so we can go ahead and click Install Now. We don't have a product key. We wish not to activate this installation. This is a test installation. We will very likely damage it or corrupt it, and we will want to either sort of restore or recreate this image. So we don't want to do a whole lot of reactivating, because Microsoft gives us only a small number of opportunities to do that reactivation. So I'm going to go ahead and click Skip. I want to do Windows 10 Pro, not Home. I'm sticking with Pro. It's got all of the things that we will want from a networking and from a management perspective. So select Pro, click Next. We have no choice but to accept the license term, click Next. We can go right here, Custom Install Only. There's no need to upgrade. You can see here there's unallocated disk space, so we'll go ahead and do sort of the shortcut, click New. It chooses the entire disk by default, click Apply, that's okay. Click OK. It will create two partitions, a system reserved partition and the rest, which is fine. Click Next. And now we get to wait, and you can see if you have a fast computer with fast disk, this should go quite quickly. Here's the screen for the product key. I'm going to do this later. We can use the Express settings. All right, who's going to use this? I'm going to say, let's just call it user. I'm going to give it a password. I'm going to give it a password hint. Click Next. All right, here we are. So first thing to notice, we have the little X beside the networking symbol. This is good. This is how we wanted it to be. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to, well, let's go display settings, advanced, crank up our resolution. All right. Let's do that one. That's going to be as good as it gets for right now. We will go ahead and install the guest editions, and that way we will have better resolution. But before we get there, we have to just, I'm going to say, fix our stuff. So I'm going to go all files, slide down to Windows Administrative Tools so I'm going to say the fastest way, and then we're going to go to Services. I'm going to blow this up. It's a little small, but I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, and I'm looking for Windows Update. You can see Windows Update right there. We can right click, then Properties, and I'm going to turn this to disabled. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to go to Recovery, and I'm going to take no action on first failure. So all of these are take no action, and so I'm going to go ahead and click Apply. All right, we can go ahead and click OK. You can see it's not turned on. I think that's it. So we will just X that, so close that. And now we have to turn off the built-in anti-malware Windows Defender server. So I'm going to go ahead gpedit.msc. That's going to open up our it's a plug-in for the policy editor. And then I'm going to go to computer configuration. Let's see, I'll make this even bigger. You can see my computer isn't as fast. It's not nearly as responsive as I'd like it to be. Can't I drag this out? There we go. So we're going to go computer configuration and then administrative templates. And inside of there, we're going to go to Windows Components. I'm going to double click on that. And then we're going to go all the way to the bottom for Windows Defender. I double clicked on that, and then you can see turn off Windows Defender. Right click, edit. I'm going to do enabled. So that means this is turned off. This policy to turn it off is enabled then. So I'm going to go ahead and click apply. So if you enable this policy, Windows Defender does not run and computers are not scanned for malware and other potentially unwanted software. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that is enabled. And then I'm going to go ahead and close that. That should be good. I'm going to go now and reboot. I'm going to go ahead and log in. We should be okay. So I'm going to go up to machine settings, go over to network. And I don't remember whether my adapter is turned on, if this is the one. So I'm going to go ahead and just cable connect it and click OK. And I'm going to watch down here to see if something changes. It goes to here and it did change. It's selected. So networks, we do not wish to be discoverable. So click no. You can see here though, we have internet access, which is great. I'm going to go right away and install Chrome. Download now. I'm showing you this because there's one setting that we need to change on Chrome. All right, so Chrome is installed. I'm going to go ahead and click on the three dots and settings. Go to advanced. And then we have, and we're looking for protect you and your device from dangerous sites. And we are going to turn that off. We are going to have no end of trouble if we're not able to download and to transact sort of dangerous sites. And so this system, this virtual machine that we're now done setting up, I consider it disposable. We haven't added any of our specialist tools yet, but this system is pristine and it's disposable. So I'm going to go ahead, close this now. I'm going to close this, turn off the power, shut down. I can close this. I can go to my file manager. So we'll just go, so users, and then that's me. And then I can go to my VirtualBox VMs. And then I can have it right here, Windows 10 unpatched 50 gigabyte disk. And you can see here, this with the red is the disk. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right click and go copy. And then I'm going to click paste. And effectively what I'm doing, as you can see here, I'll talk while it copies, I'm creating my original clean base image. So if I am unfortunate enough to have my system, my virtual system taken over, it gets infected, I start to feel like there's a problem with it, all I need to do is do a copy, and then once it's copied, delete the original and then rename the copy, and I'm good to go. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and rename this. So rename, go to the end, and then I'm going to dot clean dot sort of a master. All right, and so now I know Anytime I want to start a new analysis, anytime I'm starting to be concerned that I made a misstep, I can delete this one, right? Delete the bad one, the infected image, and then I can do a copy and then a paste, and I can make sure that it's named, and then I have a fresh install in less than 2 minutes. So that's going to be the end of this video. So we've gone ahead and we've downloaded the Windows 10 ISO. We've checked to make sure that the hash of the downloaded ISO is correct. We've configured our VirtualBox. We've installed Windows 10. We disabled some of the more troublesome security components that we're going to need to have disabled in order to do our analysis. We downloaded Chrome, and we made a clean backup copy of our image that we can hold on to just in case things go badly. So until the next video, see you later.